fairies. I do. I always have done. Since I was a baby, since I was tiny. And I mean, it's fairly self-evident. Statues, pictures, paintings, all over the place. I did when I was a kid. I went to see Peter Pan with my mum, and when Tinkerbell is almost dying, they get all the kids to scream out, "I believe in fairies!" And you have to keep shouting it till she comes back to life. You have to believe it, and then she comes back to life, and then you can see all the fairy dust and all the fairies appear. But I was so mortified. The idea that Tinkerbell was going to die, that I practically cried, and I don't remember anything else about Peter Pan apart from Tinkerbell almost dying. And it took my mum's complete reassurance for the rest of the night and weeks afterwards that Tinkerbell was fine. And then I got older, and you forget about these things and so forth. And then one birthday of 15 years ago or something like that, my mum bought me this. You can see it's tattered and pulled to pieces and loved to death and signed by the man himself. Brian Froud wrote Good Fairies and Bad Fairies about many of the creatures he's found and the inspiration for lots of the creatures he's drawn and made for things like Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. But in receiving this book literally changed my life. I started to understand those flickers in the corners of your eye in peripheral vision and those flicks of things flying past you. If you trust in your instincts, you'll realise that those aren't just bits of dust. They're creatures that live on the other side of the fairy gate, slightly out of our peripheral vision. There are vast numbers hidden. I've discovered an entire clan of fairy folk called the Cruel Fey, and I've met their familiars and the other people that, like me, know of the existence of fairies. Thankfully, I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of fairies. I've photographed some, I've drawn some, I've even adopted at least one. Mostly because I started with this book and then I saw the possibilities of others, and then I thought I could photograph them. I've photographed hobgoblins and the Spank Fairy, Tangle, Dreamcatchers and Dream Stealers, and Liminal, the gatekeeper, Fidial, the beautiful creature that lives in ponds and snatches men away to their deaths. You have your pretty, sweet, beautiful plant fairies and flower fairies and so forth. But you also get your pen snatchers and your odour fairy. Odour. Oh, these things. Dysfunction. Used to derail the axles on stagecoaches and carriages. Now he just sort of pulls spark plugs out of when your car just happens to break down in the middle of nowhere. Pretty dysfunction fairy. There are lots of them, and they're not all just fairies. Some of them are pooks, goblins, elves, all manner of random little strange creatures of shapes, sizes, manifestations, abilities. Some can fly, some can't, some are tiny and some are that big, and some are as big as us if they want to be. Fairies are not beautiful, sweet, cute little pretty things that everyone thinks. Not completely. But they're not also dark, evil things. They do bite, be warned. Fairies do bite, especially if you're mean to them. They're malevolent, devious, sneaky, wonderfully so. They're kind of like, those kids that does something really naughty but you can't help laugh because they've done it in such a clever way or so quick. That's what most fairies are like. My nan always believed if you lost something, you asked St. Anthony, patron saint of lost things. I had a friend whose dad turned the tumbler glass upside down and asked the fairies to help find the keys or the pen or whatever. And when he found them, he'd knock the glass over and release the fairy. I have a fairy called Relo that sits somewhere up there and just out of view. He loves things, loves objects, loves collecting, but he also takes things from you, and you'll be using something and then you turn around and they'll be gone. And then you look everywhere. Sometimes things disappear and they were there and then they just go. This is lead for the mechanical pencil. This was on the table the other day and I knocked it on the floor and I heard it fall, that sort of thing. And I searched under the table, around the chairs, everywhere, searched all over. Went to give up and I was like, oh, Relo, could you help? I looked down and it's on the corner of the table. There's no way it could have been on the corner table because it fell on the floor and I knocked it. But the little mysterious blue whiz of light every now and then that is my relocation fairy helped me find it. So You say thank you and you carry on. Does that mean that St Anthony was a fairy? It's food for thought. Also seem to have a dribble fairy. Since my bathroom was done up, every now and then you get a spurt of water, a gurgle or a blob of water dripping out the tap. Dribble fairies, they live in the pipework. They like that gooiness and the stench and all that. But if they're shifting around and whatever and they dislodge some water, it splurts out the tap. Also, if your tap is broken, it's leaking, ask a dribble fairy to fix it, because it's more likely going to be able to get into the pipe and fix it. I forgot about the YouTube fairies. This lot. Since starting this channel, I, like probably many of you that are watching this that have got your own channel and do your own stuff, have probably realised that there are YouTube fairies. Those creatures that kind of help, but don't help. Sometimes they turn the lights off when you get all set up and then the light goes off. And it's like, probably your YouTube fairies. You're not paying enough attention to them. Ask them, get them involved, ask them to help. Mine take the packages in when I get orders and they put it in the special down there place, the floor below. I've had things fly up from in the stores down there. They can be helpful, they can be... But since meeting many of these creatures that have let me take their photo or draw them, I've become acutely aware of that world just beyond our vision, through the gates that Liminal protects. And this may seem like a lot of rambling and strange ideas and silliness, and this is part of what I'm doing this for. We've agreed, the Cruel Fey and myself have decided that we're going to share some of their stories and some of these wonderful creatures with you. We'll do a little video every now and then and tell the story of one of the Cruel Fey. So that's where we're going to start. So, come back. But for now, well, that's all from us, all of us, whoever's here with me. The YouTube fairies down there who helped with the light, as you can tell, the lights waved and lifted and dropped. Yes, so from all of us, we'd like to say thank you for watching. Hope you liked this. You know, if you want to see more fairy stories, probably Liminal and the Maiden of the Fae, and many more hereafter, you need to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and you'll get notifications when these stories go up and other videos, and we will see you soon. That was a bit rambly, even sort of got a bit folk. I've done this wrong again. Hobgoblins. People think they're all sweet, cute, pretty and innocent. Nah. They're malevolent, devious, sneaky.